Jonathan initiated an offer of $500 and Joanne accepted. Jonathan opted for the lock and deal option as it would be more convenient for him, and Joanne accepted as well. Both parties are informed that the lock and deal algorithm will select a location after considering the location preferences of the buyer and seller. Both parties are to select exactly 5 MRT stations, one station on each of the 5 different lines, with the fields pre-populated based on the location preferences they selected in the last transaction. Users can amend the location preferences before submission. Lock and Deal's algorithm will then generate a priority list of stations based on the 5 selected stations, and the top priority will be selected for both seller and buyer. In this case, it happens to be Simei. Both parties then accepted this location. An item invoice will then be generated. For the transaction to proceed, Jonathan keyed in his card details accordingly. According to the dimensions specified by the seller when she listed the item, Lock and Deal will then automatically assign a locker which will fit the seller's item. Locker details will then be notified to the seller after the buyer made payment. This includes the station location and a status which reminds that the seller has 3 days to drop the item. Lastly, a payment status which reflects that the payment has been made but withheld until the buyer collects the item. At this point, the buyer will merely see the locker location without any details. A progress tracker will be shown to both parties for subsequent steps. The next day, while on her way to work, Joanne placed the item in the locker using the assigned password and locked the door. At the same time, Jonathan received notification that the item has been placed with a different password 8340 and decided to collect his item later in the evening. He travelled down to the assigned station, unlocked the locker using the assigned password, and verified that the item is exactly as described. He closed the door of the locker to confirm his collection and accepted the item on Lock and Deal. Joanne then receives a notification that her payment has been received.